In a big country, just stay with you like a mountainside. Sorry, that was terrible. Move, damn you. Hey, here we are at the beautiful and picturesque Cultus Lake. And it's an uncommonly beautiful day outside for, I don't know, the air out here is just like really brisk. I mean, it's like chilly. I'm not used to it. I haven't been back here for a really long time. Here we see the traditional Canadian art of water skiing. These are Canadian geese. Much like American geese, they're assholes. They just poo everywhere. It's true. Also, Smokey used to be a real jock back in high school, but like he really turned his life around. I'm really happy about that. So here you can see a bunch of salmon, and it's about the time of the season where they all lay their eggs in the river, and then they die. How inconvenient. Pretty gross. It's like looking at this vast, picturesque lake and this scenery. I wonder if anyone's posted on my Facebook. So here we see some traditional bored Canadian graffiti. There's not a whole lot to do out here by the river full of dead salmon. I think that one says Smam. George and Nicole forever. Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of the nearest future shop? I want to buy a Kindle. I am so lost right now. Hey! You haven't been to Canada unless you've been to a Timmy Ho's. Here we see a traditional Canadian out-of-season water park. Here's a traditional Canadian McDonald's. You have got to be kidding me. This is a traditional Canadian game of playing Scrabble with a bunch of old ladies. This is a traditional Canadian dessert of bread pudding. So when I was playing Scrabble with the old ladies, I found out that avocados are named after the Aztec word for testicle, because that's the first thing they thought of when they chop one open. In the gyms here, people say bro, just like in California. I feel like I'm required to have a shot of some deer. So I'm glad these two came by, even though they were asking for change. There are actually some sheep on the other side of this house. And Louis C.K. was right. They sound gross. Like, bleh. It's terrible. Check it out. The leaves are falling, man. Like it's fall. You know, the crazy thing about being in a smaller town like Chilliwack is that moment when you realize nobody's looking at their smartphone. It's crazy, man. It's like people like look at each other in the eye, and when they're talking to each other and stuff, instead of just looking down all the time and being like text, Instagram, text, Facebook, Instagram. It's wild, man. Shut up. So they got this place here called the Real Canadian Superstore. And it's a lot like Target because you can buy like groceries and clothes there. But you can also like get a haircut and like buy life insurance. That's just crazy. Also, it's kind of funny that, I mean, called the Real Canadian Superstore. You'd think that Americans would be the first people to have a store chain called like the Real American something. This is like a Calvin and Hobbes backyard. I never knew what that was like. Hey man, can you direct me to the nearest future shop? I need some USB cables. No? Yes? No, fine. God. It ain't nothing but a party, y'all. It's like looking at all these acres of farmland, it's like, wow. Red Dead Redemption was a really great game, and now I want to play it again. So the nice thing about getting out to a place like this, especially if you've lived in the city for a really long time or most of your life, is that everyone lives at a different pace, just depending on where they are. And it's like when you go to a place like this where everything's more spread out and open and it's a smaller community, and you know, it's really kind of great to... What was that? I think a horse just threw up. Just kind of be in a place where everyone lives at a different pace, because if you're... Shut up! You learn to slow down and get outside of your own head, because if you live in a city or really dense area of society or whatever, it's easy to get so far wrapped up in the own problems of your mind that you forget how to appreciate things, you know, be able to take a deep breath and realize that, hey man, we're all just waiting to die. Harsh but true. But don't look at that as a downer, man. It's just that there's no reason to really freak out about anything, you know? Unless you're like in an avalanche or something. I just mean like the day-to-day stuff, it shouldn't be that hard, man. There's a lot more to appreciate out there than most people think. Oh my god! It's a sailboat! This is crazy, man!